let's talk Canada. This is part 3 of the right-wing manifesto. Religion has been prevalent in the world for centuries. Its success was based on the promotion of fear, hate, righteousness, nationality, superiority, and the promise of salvation. In Canada, there were many religions, but the one that is behind the right-wing movement against democracy is based on dispensationalism. Dispensationalism was systematized and promoted by John Nelson Darby and the Plymouth Brethren in the mid-19th century. Dispensationalism is a theological framework for interpreting the Bible which maintains that history is divided into multiple ages called dispensations in which God interacts with his chosen people in different ways. Dispensationalists use a literal interpretation of the Bible and believe that divine revelation unfolds throughout the Bible. They believe that there is a distinction between Israel and the church, and that Christians are not bound by Mosaic law. They maintain beliefs in premillennialism, Christian Zionism, and a rapture of the church that will happen before the second coming of Christ, generally seen as happening before a period of tribulation. It began its spread in the United States during the late 19th century through the efforts of evangelists such as James Inglis, James Hall Brooks, and Dwight L. Moody, the programs of the Niagara Bible Conference, and the establishment of Bible institutes. With the dawn of the 20th century, Cyrus Scofield introduced the Scofield Reference Bible, which reinforced dispensationalism in the United States and was embraced by evangelicals. Most theologians acknowledge that there is no specific sequence of end-times events defined in the Bible. The Scofield Bible has been called the most dangerous heresy currently to be found within Christian circles. Canada wasn't immune to this religious fiction. However, it wasn't as dominant as it was in America. That is, until William Aberhart started teaching and preaching. Dispensationalism wasn't new to Calgary, but Aberhart's version may have been new to dispensationalists. However, he offered his followers an alternative to death, and they lapped it up. In the fall of 1901, Aberhart was hired as a teacher at the Central Public School in Brantford. He also taught at the Zion Church and ran additional classes at the YMCA and the Brantford Collegiate Institute. If Aberhart's teaching methods could be defined with one word, it would be discipline. Every report stressed that he was a strong disciplinarian who kept a tight control over his students. Aberhart didn't learn those skills in school, but rather from studying Oliver Cromwell. Cromwell is a well-known historical figure, probably best noted for making England a Republican Commonwealth. But he has also become an inspiration to many evangelicals because of his new model army that combined military skills with religious fervor. Rather than choosing his military leaders from among the gentry, Cromwell instead chose them on their religious merits. Strong believers like himself who knew that God was on their side. The men would often sing psalms just before going into battle. Discipline was also strict and the training thorough, making them professional soldiers for Christ. In 1903, Aberhart wrote that he thought of his classroom as a battlefield. He assigned each student a 3-digit number by which he addressed them rather than by name. With recalcitrant students he had no patience. For slight misdemeanors he is said to have doled out strappings. More serious offenses would see the student suspended or expulsed. One former student claimed that Aberhart did everything he could to break the spirit of a child. Aberhart's initial Bible study teaching in Calgary commenced at the Grace Presbyterian Church at the Young Men's Bible class. In 1927, he built the Calgary Prophetic Bible Institute because he needed a larger facility to accommodate the Bible school and the crowds. From that building, he radio broadcasted his sermons, reaching people across the prairies and America. What his students and listeners were unaware of is that William Aberhart incorporated fascism into his sermons. Part 4 of the right-wing manifesto will be on Aberhart's Social Credit Party. Until then, be aware and remain Canadian.